Welcome back, children. Today we are back with another topic, the human skeletal system. So let's dive deeper and find out what is there in store for us today. What is the human skeletal system, or what is the skeletal system? The skeletal system is a framework of bones that gives support to our body, and this framework is known as the skeleton, as you can see in the picture. There are around 206 bones in an adult human skeleton. So there are exactly 206 bones in an adult human skeleton. What happens when a baby is born? How many bones are there? A baby has more than 350 bones. So, what happens to the bones, and how come adults have 206 bones when they become an adult? A baby human body has over 300 bones. A baby's body has about 300 bones at birth. These eventually fuse or grow together to form the 206 bones that adults have. Starting from the skull protects the brain. The skull of an adult human being generally contains 22 bones. All bones in the skull are fixed except for the lower jaw, as you can see in the picture. This lower jaw enables us to talk and eat. So think about a situation where the lower jaw was immovable. Could you eat? Could you talk? That would not have been possible. So this lower jaw enables us to talk and eat. The upper and the lower jaws have teeth. Let's study more about the skull. It has 8 cranial bones. What is the function of the cranial bone, or what are the functions of the cranial bones? It protects the brain. The inner surfaces attach the membranes covering the brain to stabilize the brain and attach to blood vessels and nerves. So that is how it's a covering for the brain, and that is how it is attached to the lower part of your body. Then you have 14 facial bones. The facial bone has several functions. It forms the framework for the face, contains cavities for the senses. As you can see here, these are the cavities of the eyes, these are the cavities of the ears. It contains cavities for the senses. It provides opening for air and food. It secures the teeth, and it anchors the facial muscles. So these are the different 14 facial bones, and these are the 8 cranial bones. So together they form 22 bones. Then comes the next part, which is the rib cage. So you can see it's cage-like structure. So what are ribs? Ribs are thin and curved bones that form a cage in the chest and is called a rib cage. The rib cage protects our heart and lungs. The skull protects the brain. The rib cage protects our heart and lungs. Most people have 12 pair of ribs. A long bone in the center of the chest is called sternum. So this green part you can see is sternum. It holds the ribs from the front. This is how the rib cage looks like in a human skeleton. The ribs are also attached to the backbone at the back. You can see the ribs, all the ribs are attached to the backbone at the back. But what about these two red bones? What about these pairs? The last two pairs of ribs are not attached to the sternum and are called floating ribs. So as you can see, the last two pairs are not attached to the bone at the center, which is the sternum, and they are known as the floating ribs. Then comes your backbone. The backbone protects the spinal cord, because of which you can sit straight. It is made up of 33 small bones called vertebrae. The backbone is also called the vertebral column. So this is how it is protecting the spinal cord. And these are actually 33 small bones, which are called vertebrae. Next part of our body is the limbs. We have two pairs of limbs, the upper limbs or the arms and the lower limbs or the legs. All of us have the upper limbs and the lower limbs. So, what is the structure of the upper limb? The upper limbs have two parts, the upper arm and the lower arm. The upper arm is made up of a single bone. Now here you can see that this is a single bone, which is the humerus, which forms the upper arm. It is joined at the elbow. It is joined at the elbow to a pair of bones that form the lower arm, which is the radius and ulna. These are the two bones which form the lower arm. A number of smaller bones form the hand. Then comes your hand, and it is made up of carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. What about the lower limbs? The lower limbs have two parts, the upper leg and the lower leg. The upper leg is made up of a single bone. As you can see here, it is also known as the thigh bone, and it is called femur. Femur is the longest bone in the human body, and it is joined at the knee. So this is the part which is known as the knee, and these bones are joined. This femur is joined with another pair of bones in the lower leg, and these are known as tibia and fibula. A number of smaller bones form the feet called the tarsals, metatarsals, and phalanges. So this is the structure of the lower limb. What are girdles? Girdles are ring-like bony structures connecting the skull and vertebral column to the upper and the lower limbs. There are two girdles present in human skeleton, the shoulder girdle and the hip girdle. Now let us see what is shoulder girdle in detail. It connects the upper limbs to the body. So here you can see that these are bony structures, ring-like structures which are connecting the upper limb to the body. It is made up of a collarbone and the shoulder blade. Then comes your hip girdle or the pelvic girdle. It connects the lower limbs to the body. This is how your lower limbs are attached. So children, what is a cartilage? Cartilage is a strong, flexible connective tissue that protects your joints and your bones. It is a skeletal tissue that is not as hard as the bones and can be bent easily. It acts as a shock absorber. Can you see? Cartilage at the end of your bones reduces friction and prevents them from rubbing together when you use your joints. And where can you find cartilage? You can find the cartilage in the upper parts of the ear, tip of nose, touch and see. Upper part of the ear, tip of the nose, ends of your ribs, joints between elbows in an adult vertebrae. So, what are the functions of skeletal system? The 5 key functions of the skeletal system is to provide shape and support. It allows movement. It protects tissues and organs. It stores certain materials and also produces blood cells. So, briefly, you can see the skull acts like a helmet and protects the brain inside. The backbone surrounds and protects the spinal cord. Bones help us in movement along with muscles and joints, and the rib cage acts like an armor and protects our heart and lungs inside. So this was a brief summary of our skeletal system of the human skeleton of the bones that actually form the structure of our human body. Part 2 will be followed. Stay tuned and do subscribe, like, and share the channel. Thank you.